Welcome back, my BlackBerry friends. It is that time once again where we look at a BlackBerry from yesteryear, and today it's going to be the BlackBerry Q10. And I never really warmed up to the Q10 in the way that I warmed up with all the other BlackBerry devices. For whatever reason, I just always preferred my BlackBerry Classic, my Q20, if I was going to go with this form factor from this generation. I love the row of buttons. If I was going to carry a BlackBerry, I wanted to be able to end calls by pushing a button. I wanted my trackpad. I wanted to be able to navigate in and out of apps by hitting the end button. There was just something very BlackBerry about that at the time for me. But as time has gone on, I've grown to appreciate the Q10 and what it offers. And it does offer a size that's more like the BlackBerry Bold 9900, because by getting rid of that row of keys, pushable buttons, you make the device a little bit smaller. So in the pocket on your hip, this is more true to the size of the BlackBerry Bold 9900, which is quite nice. You look at the white and gold was a Dubai special edition, I believe, or Dubai exclusive at first, and then they made it readily available for people around the world. And a few years ago, I think I've had this about 4 years, they made eBay less than $100. You could pick up one of these new old stock in box. So that's when I did that, to try to go back and see what was going on with the Q10 at the time. One of the things that strikes you immediately is the beautiful Amoled display, 3.1 inches running at 720p, but it is just really sharp, great contrast, great color, still fantastic to look at today, even in comparison to all the fancy AMOLEDs that we have on flagships today. Still really great, and it's important for a device of this size, with the screen size being what it was, to have a sharp display. Because you want to be able to read that text, you want to be able to read those emails, and not be able to strain your eyes on a smaller display. So it was nice that they included this beautiful AMOLED display. BlackBerry always did well with their displays. Even though the BlackBerry Passport display was an LCD, it was still a nice sharp 2K LCD back when that wasn't particularly common on these devices. Powering it was that Snapdragon S4 that, for whatever, it seemed like anything that came out from 2012 to 2014, either on the BlackBerry side or on the Windows Phone side, was powered by the Snapdragon S4. Just ran everything. And that was just perfectly fine when you're talking about BlackBerry 10, because it didn't require a lot. You could run BlackBerry 10, and same thing could be said for Windows Phone, really, on a potato. Didn't need a lot of processing power. Super efficient, super great with battery life, and still had enough power to get you through your day smoothly. I know a couple people back in the day thought it was a little underpowered for a BlackBerry device. A little bit of slowdown, but I didn't notice that going back and using it in 2018, 2019 with any issues with that. Mine in particular, I had been using it. I broke the SIM tray. I somehow bent a pin on the SIM, the back of this device. I'll see if I could take it out. And you can see here, I bent a pin. It's kind of difficult to see. And I was thinking about going back and repairing it, but then AT&T had the whole thing where it wasn't going to allow these devices on the network anymore anyway, so I figured it wasn't worth the work. And it still works on Wi-Fi just fine, so you can get emails and that stuff. It did scare me a little bit, because I noticed the fact that I didn't take this off BlackBerry Protect, and when I went to plug it in, it told me I had an error. It told me I had some sort of battery error, and it was going to have to restart itself or reset itself, and I freaked out. I shut it off immediately, took the battery out, put it back in, and was okay. But it just reminded me, and if you're still somebody using these devices and you didn't remove it from BlackBerry Protect before the servers went down, you're one error away or one hiccup away from losing this device. So if you're somebody in another country who's still able to use this, or if you're in the United States and still able to use it, well, please tell. I put that out in the last video when I was talking about the BlackBerry Passport. If you are somebody who is still using this in the United States, please tell me which carrier. And no one was able to do that just yet with that. But I am curious to know if these still are viable in the United States and still able to be used. One quick side note, link in the description. Get yourself in the Discord. I made a special room just for BlackBerry and BlackBerry fans. You could discuss, post pictures of the BlackBerries you're still using or your BlackBerry collection. Would be cool to talk about that. So go ahead and use the link, get in the Discord, and start chatting with me. But I really do like it. BlackBerry 10, the gestures made this usable without the buttons. It takes a little getting used to. Yeah, is it awkward sometimes? A little bit. You kind of would rather having the button there, like I said before, I prefer that. But with the display, with the small form factor, I love the white and gold. I am not a yellow gold fan, but for whatever reason, I'm not not that much of a fan. I'm a fancy boy, but I'm not that much of a fancy boy. But this just hit me a different way, and I love the Arabic letters and text there that they needed in Dubai, of course, and it is in red, which is quite cool. So you get the subset, you get the English text, and then you get the subset characters there in red, and it looks really cool. See if I could get it to light up. It looks really cool at night when you're in the text that it needs the backlighting, and it lights up the keyboard. There we go. Little difficult to see, but you can kind of see it coming through there, and it's neat seeing the red and the gold and the white all played together. But overall, great email machine. You got all the things that you'd expect. Removable battery, micro USB charging. Then you have the HDMI out and the volume up and down on the side here. And then you have all the lock button, of course, on the top. Headphone jack, your microphones. Just an overall nice and solid unit. I had forgotten about the weight of these. It's actually pretty substantial. Not heavy, but for a device this size, packing what it does, it was nice to see that it was solid and it was well built. Because I remember coming from the BlackBerry Bold at first, I was a little like, yeah, my Q20's, it's good, but it wasn't quite the refinement that I felt that we had with the BlackBerry Bold 9900 when they really went all out with design and their industrial design. I guess that's kind of an answer. It was an answer, I think, at the time to the iPhone 4 design, going a little bit more premium. They got away from kind of the chunky plastic builds into something sleek. And so this kind of went back a little bit to the plastic, maybe to save cost, but it aged well, I think, in terms of BlackBerry. I love the design of it. And then, of course, BB10. You absolutely could use that if it were still supported. You absolutely could still use it today with all the apps, and emails are still great to send back and forth on it. The keyboard was wonderful. I wish Unihertz has done a better job with the Titan Slim keyboard, but this was a really nice keyboard. It didn't have the bow that the BlackBerry Bold 9900 did, but I eventually got used to the flat across keyboard that was on these devices. Just nice positive click. Feels great in the hand, even if you have bigger hands. This was just a great size of device to use, and you go ahead and throw it on your hip in your pocket when you have the cases, the swivel cases, and you were set to go. Brought me back, pulling it out, using it. I'd seen a million videos on these when they first became really cheap on eBay, unboxings and stuff like that. That's why I didn't really mess with it at the time, but I figured I hadn't done a Q10 video. I wanted to do a retro BlackBerry video, so I'd go ahead and pull it out. But let me know, was it something that you avoided because you were so used to the buttons, you wanted the buttons, so you went right to the BlackBerry Classic, right to the Q20? If that's something that did you go, if you figured, hey, I have to use the gestures anyway, you just went right to a Z10, Z30. You said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to get the entire screen. If they're going to force me to use gestures, I'm going to get rid of the keyboard completely and go to a phone that's actually designed to be using the gestures totally from the ground up. That could have been viable as well. But I think going back while I was, like I said, I was that Q20 Classic snob, I do kind of appreciate it now, only because of the form factor and the size and what they were able to provide and making it feel like the BlackBerry Bold of yesteryear. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.